Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of the group chat, part of the two-way family. We welcome you to the show, and we invite you to participate in our program by chiming in, our community members, and I'll call on you, and you can offer your thoughts on what we're discussing or anything else. But as always, I urge you to emphasize peace, love, and understanding in your remarks and also in the comment section, which we certainly want you to participate in. But let's just keep that peace, love, and understanding going. As always, I am Robby Soave, joined as usual by Nina Turner, Emma Jo Morris, and Dan Turrentine to talk the big news of the week. There's kind of a lot of things going on. I wanted to start again with Epstein, though if people want to chime in and offer different things that are going on that are on your mind, that's totally fine too. But finally, we are getting supposedly this grand, vast Epstein files disclosure. Trump has signed on to it. Massey has won. It's going to be released. We're, I think, going to be talking about lots more emails between various figures and Epstein, as we have been doing with small batches of emails being released involving Larry Summers, former president of Harvard, other people, Stacey Plaskett, the Virgin Islands delegate, who was defended by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, who noted that several Republicans received donations, Lee Zeldin, from Jeffrey Epstein. However, it's not that Jeffrey Epstein. Somebody else named Jeffrey Epstein. She's facing some pushback for that. Let's actually go ahead and play that sod because I think it's highly entertaining, and then we'll get into a discussion.
Mentioned Lee Zeldin there. He's now a cabinet secretary. He responded and said it was actually Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, who's a doctor that doesn't have any relation to the convicted sex trafficker. Unfortunate for that doctor, but that is who donated to a prior campaign of his. Do you want to correct the record on the people that
Listen, I never said that it was that Jeffrey Epstein. Just so that people understand, when you make a donation, your picture is not there. And because they decided to spring this on us in real time, I wanted the Republicans to think about what could potentially happen, because I knew that they didn't even try to go through the FEC. So my team, what they did is they Googled. And that is specifically why I said a Jeffrey Epstein. Unlike Republicans, I at least don't go out and just tell lies. Because it was not the same one, that's fine. But when Lee Zeldin had something to say, all he had to say was it was a Jeffrey Epstein. He admitted that he did receive donations from a Jeffrey Epstein, so at least I wasn't trying to mislead people. Now, have I dug in to find out who this doctor is? I have not. So I will trust and take what he says, is that it wasn't that Jeffrey Epstein, but I was not attempting to mislead anybody. I literally had maybe 20 minutes before I had to do that debate.
Dan, I'm gonna come to you first. Was that not misleading, and should she have not apologized for that?
I mean, that's embarrassing. I mean, it is funny. Like, we all are laughing at it because you're digging and digging and digging. Just say, in that instance, I was wrong. That was the wrong at Jeffrey Epstein. I should not have said that. Like, your bigger case that Jeffrey Epstein is, rich and was in Palm Beach in New York and, was active with Republicans and Democrats, just stick to that point. But why she decided to defend the indefensible, unbelievable.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I got no more to say. That's it. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Lee Zeldin, his campaign for governor of New York, from which he received a donation from a Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, not that Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was dead by
I was just going to say, that's the irony, right? Like, even if you looked at the date, you're like, the guy died years ago.
Oh, and the more, so that was a vote potentially to censor Stacey Plaskett. I have dug in a little bit. I've hosted on Rising journalist Lee Fong, who's looked at her sort of associations with Epstein over the years, which are go a little bit beyond even just that she got a text from him during whatever hearing that was. So there's some bad stuff there, but no, they don't want to censor anybody because the Democrats wanted to censor Corey Mills, also very deservedly, and they said, you know what, let's not censor anyone. That's bipartisanship in Washington.
Yes, it is. It's not just Democrats who were cool with it.
Yeah.
It was both parties that were like, yeah, let's not, mutually assured destruction once you open that door.
Well, and that's been the fear of so many people who've wanted Epstein files disclosure. And, I've I agree with that. I've pushed back on it in some ways. I think it's, more complicated because obviously a lot of information has come out, and sometimes I'll hear people say, release the Epstein files, who aren't aware that thousands of pages of documents already exist, and we know more than what people suggest. But the concern, which this kind of behavior validates, is that they don't have an interest in disclosure because they're also corrupt and also compromised, that they wouldn't want you to get at the truth, which sounds crazy and conspiratorial. But when they agree, you know what, we'll not censure Stacey Plaskett. We'll have just enough votes to stop that from happening, and we'll trade you Corey Mills, and that won't happen either.
Can I just for 1 second? I love
For
Nina's.
more than 1 second. Take as many as you like.
Face is so good. It makes me laugh. I remember last week when me and Dan were in a fight. And I was like, what's the point of this? It's not for justice. It's just for talking. And
Politics.
I say this at the time because, oh, Emma's so in the tank. Oh, Emma is so predictable. She's so brainwashed. She's so MAGA. Emma wouldn't say that every time the Democrats try to pull a trick like this, they end up stepping on a rake and Trump somehow ends up walking away scot-free, completely unscathed. Something about his energy, something just about his energy. But I was thinking that. I just would never say it because I would never be in the tank. And lo and behold, I know that you don't believe me, but it is just true that this thing that has had no purpose in terms of, as I did say in the last episode, of justice, and only a purpose of politics, has lo and behold boomeranged and hit the Democrats in the face so hard that I can't help but talk about it with mirth, with glee. I've been smiling and laughing basically the entire time. Who have we had humiliated by this saga so far? And it's not over. Larry Summers, Harvard.
But Larry Summers hasn't been active in Democratic politics in 20 years. I mean, he hasn't.
It's still and
Well, he was an advisor, sort of,
and by her own choice.
Biden hated him.
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look,
and still Trump has not only signed the bill, but has totally pivoted, totally 180 to tell them to just do it.
Oh, well, I love you, and I totally agree.
Tell me how we're owning the cons today.
I totally agree. It's politics on our side. 100% like opportunity presented itself. But in no way, shape, or form do I think Democrats have been taken the brunt and the worst of this issue. It has not. Look at Trump. His own party's divided on this. Like, he was so badly beaten, he literally threw the towel in and said, now I'm for it, even though he could have done this at any point along the line. But he didn't. He got dragged kicking and screaming, and his own party split in half. So, like, I get it. We are totally playing politics with this. But sometimes, you get opportunity and you do it.
All right, I want to bring in Nina. I want to get Nina.
Wait. 1 week ago, this was not playing politics. This was about justice for rape victims.
I never said that.
Oh
I didn't.
God.
I mean, it can be both, in fairness.
I mean, that's it. That's
right.
the point.
Nina, we got to get Nina in here. Nina, give us your thoughts. Take us wherever you want to go, baby.
I already threw my papers up. I'm telling you. There's a Kenny Rogers song that comes to mind. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to run. And I'm telling you, Representative Crockett should have just apologized straight off the gate. Listen, I got caught on this. I thought it was the Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm sorry. Just let it go. But all that fumbling and mumbling is just embarrassing. Just like Dan said, man, when you in politics, you are taught when you're in a hole, stop digging, baby. Stop digging. I do agree that it is all of the above that I've been listening intently to my colleagues. Yes, there are some politicians, unfortunately, probably more than not, who only care about this for political reasons, both on the Republican and the Democratic side. The people who are losing are the victims in this because they get lost in it. When elephants start to fight, the grass gets trampled. And that's what's happening here, in that we keep centering either is the president or who are the Democrats on the list or who are the Republicans on the list. Meanwhile, we should care whether or not the powerful men and women, because there were some women involved in this, you better make sure it wasn't just Ghislaine. There's some other women in this too, and shame on them. But anybody involved in shepherding in and brainwashing these young girls and these young women and tricking them into being on that island. And oh my God, Delegate Platt, give me a break. She cannot be let off the hook for this. This is ridiculous. And now leader Hakeem Jeffries is traveling around, I understand, Dan, in defense of her. There is something wrong with these sets of people. Now, either they've lost their minds or they were crazy before they got there. But what is patently clear is that there is no shame among some Republicans and some Democrats when it comes to matters like this and others. And that is why their approval rating, both the entire Congress approval rating, the President of the United States approval rating, because the American people, and I hate when they say it, but I am going to say this because I have been given authority to speak on behalf of all the American people. And what they told me, Emma Jo, was this: they tired of being played with. That's what they told me. Yeah. And I'm tired too. And I got to find me some more papers, Robby, to throw.
I think Nina has the right to speak on behalf of all of the American people, if not only because she is the last person in this conversation who is sincere.
I'm sincere. It's about politics. But look, I think here's the thing.
I'm sincere that it's about politics, epic.
But here's the thing. I mean, if you go back to 21, 22, and 23, the reason that J.D. Vance, Kash Patel, and Donald Trump banged the drum was that they were painting the picture of the deep state, right? Of this cabal of the government. They stole the election, the whole thing about Pizzagate and Birthergate, this idea of the powerful screwing people. So for our party, when Trump stepped in it and backed off and his party went like this and split, we're like, oh, we're going to step into the breach and we're going to have some fun with this because we've been tormented by these conspiracy theories for years. It was not us who went on X the last 5 years and talked about this. It was not.
Totally.
And why did
Republicans? All of the people were the ones who were friends with Epstein, of course.
It was not just Democrats.
But listen, like, I totally know that. I find it kind of fascinating and like amazing and like maybe inspiring, maybe touching that you're being so forthright about this and about the motives of this conversation and where the Democrats are coming from and bringing it up. I obviously know that. I think everybody on the right kind of has caught on at this point, except for maybe Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene. But
why did Republicans?
I appreciate your candor, and that's especially why I have been like just laughing over the last 24 hours watching this unfold, and like it's been like a Looney Tunes cartoon for the Democrats.
Well, I think there's a massive, the Americans who are interested in this issue were like, this doesn't add up to me. Why did this person get a lenient sentence? Well, oh my God, the things we're learning are horrible. And then, no, I think I agree with Dan. It was cynically adopted by many Republicans, not all, many Republicans be like, oh my God, this could be a way to expose powerful Democrats or Democratic aligned people like Larry Summers for being Prince Andrew, elites. And elites increasingly codes progressive and liberal, and we
controlled the government. So the elites were us, right?
And then it was, actually, a lot of wealthy financial people, some of them with conservative or Republican ties, and Trump did know him a long, long time ago. We got to minimize that aspect of it. And Democrats are like, oh, did you say Trump? Now we're going to be. So it's the political interest, I would say, has largely been cynical. There are people like Thomas Massey and Ro Khanna who are just for disclosing whatever's in it, and I respect and celebrate them for that, even as I do think there are some civil liberty concerns to just, because I am a scrutinizer of Me Too excesses, and I don't believe every single thing that, somebody gets up and says, I was a victim 30 years ago, listen to me and give me millions of dollars, by the way. Not all of those claims stand the test of time. That's just the truth, including one of the main ones from Virginia Giuffre. So I'm kind of like, I'm all over the place on this issue.
I mean, while that is true, I hope that we can say that the pendulum swings too far in this country where women were never believed, where there were laws on the books that men could beat their wives within a rule of thumb, and women couldn't get credit cards without their husbands signing for them or own property that was given to them. And so now in our lifetime, the pendulum swings, too far the other way. I agree with you. Every time somebody says something, that whole saying, believe all women, what the hell? Anybody that's a human being has the capacity to lie. Right. However, we do have to admit within that, though, that the belief system, both socially and legally, has swung towards men more often in situations like that. What were you wearing? How did you look at him? What did you say? Did you lead him on? Those kinds of things caused, the Me Too. So how do we find a type of stasis in recognizing women can lie just as well as men? Anybody's human being has the capacity to lie. And when you lie about something like this or even exaggerate it, you can really mess somebody's life up. We can admit all of those things. And then somebody in the chat said this should be reserved to the young girls. Many of those women were older. Let me tell you something. Older women, people can be manipulated by powerful people. Now, the age difference is worse when it is a minor. But let us not pretend like grown folks are not sometimes manipulated. And if somebody is forced to have a sexual relationship with somebody against their will, even if they are grown, it is wrong. So this is for all of the women. If some men have been transgressed, hell, I'm for them too. And let me tell you something. I do believe that there's some women engaged in this as well.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. I'm with you on all that. And we didn't take people who made these kinds of complaints seriously for a long time. And that was, I always say, I don't believe all women is not, and it's not that I think women are like uniquely manipulative or liars or something. All people are capable of deception. They're capable of selective memory. They're capable of exaggerating things in their favor, particularly when there's millions of dollars at stake. But it's been broadly a good thing to have this corrective. It just then has gone off.
Well, I think a lot of these women did come forward. It's just a lot of them have signed non-disclosures.
Right.
That's the issue, right?
That is the issue.
If I came forward, I signed a non-disclosure, and the other person is worth billions of dollars. There are some that have been in the news who have admitted, Leon Black, Jess Staley at JP Morgan, others who are worth hundreds of millions of dollars. If I go to legal war with them and I'm Dan Turrentine and make, $50,000 a year, I have almost no chance. So the reason a lot of these women are quiet but stood behind Marjorie Taylor Greene and others is members of Congress can say something because they're protected by the free speech clause. That it is true that a lot of these women, there's no question if something happened. The question is, will the public ever find out who that other person was that signed non-disclosures with them?
And it's thousands of women all over the world. The people who've been studying this and watching this have said that this is not just contained in the United States of America, which there's no news flash for all of us. And then again, just a gentle reminder that some of these women did try to come forward even in the 90s, but they were not taken seriously. And so this is a issue whose time has come, so to speak. And it's pretty sad,
Yeah, definitely sad. I think
this being put to bed.
What's that?
I'll be looking forward to this being put to rest.
Well, let me ask you that on a serious political question.
I mean, it'll never be put to rest, but go ahead.
That's the question. So if Emma Jo, if you're advising Trump and the White House, serious question. So you've got from now to the end of the year, so they're 30 days, whatever is going to come out, right? My sense is it will not satisfy the conspiracy theorists. Do you think this plagues them in next year? How can you try to truly get out? Did you tell Pam Biondi and Kash Patel, you're going to do an 8-hour press conference? You're going to answer every question. You're going to sit there. We're going to release everything, so that when January 1st comes, it's like, guys, we've answered everything.
I mean, I would be my advice comes has authority because it comes from an authentic place. legit MAGA. Like I voted for Trump 3 times and I would vote for him for his 3rd term. And, this is like a sincerely held belief for me. And I sincerely consider myself a deplorable in some way, and
Proudly consider yourself a
yes,
deplorable.
the term is inherently said with pride. So anyway, I think that this has been a real vulnerability for this administration, frankly, to me, and not necessarily regarding Epstein. I can be like a little cheeky in this conversation because it has become so political, especially with the involvement of Congress. And as I said, once neoliberal Democrats get into a conversation, I automatically kind of start scoffing at it, and become immediately skeptical. But really, like, yeah, this is a huge, sensitive nerve for MAGA. And it's not Epstein, it's what's the deal with the guy who shot Trump? What happened to Charlie? What happened to Charlie? They just stopped updating that. They just stopped.
The Trump assassin story is unbelievable that we
They
still
just
don't know
stopped updating
anything.
Butler. Then Tucker comes out with a
Unbelievable.
30-minute thing like nuking the FBI. Miranda, 24 hours later again. And it's like there is zero trust in the institutions, zero. And not only is there a zero, but the hero cache was supposed to be in there to salt the earth where the FBI headquarters is, and instead has not only not done that, but seems to be playing along with the status quo and doing it badly. At least people who were like Ray and Comey were more slippery than Cash. So they did it with a kind of skill. He doesn't have that. So it is, frankly, everything that's going on is appalling. And it's not only about the Epstein files. The Epstein files to me actually are like ancient history. I like barely care anymore. I barely care anymore. I am much more concerned not to dismiss the victims, not to dismiss the severity of the alleged crimes. But I want to know what the deal is with the guy who tried to kill Trump, who like.
Why do you think there isn't anything about? I mean, they've had not the Trump White House. I mean, I believe that, I don't believe the case that like the Biden White House intentionally, like the Trump people
saying
have
anybody.
no. I don't know. I know you're not. That's why I'm asking.
I just want to know.
Why hasn't the Trump team focused on this more? Like
I don't know. It's very annoying.
Motives, nothing.
That's what I'm saying. It's a huge nerve for us because it's like, what's going on? What's going on? And this is like this is one of the cornerstone issues of MAGA, which is the opacity of government, the obvious corruption and obvious lying and obvious taking us for fools. It's very disrespectful. It's very annoying. We pay for that. We pay for that. Remember who pays that bill? And to treat us this way as they're our clients, it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I mean, part of the reason Thomas Crooks, the the attempted assassin of Donald Trump, he didn't have a manifesto. He didn't have a history of political statements.
Well, apparently that's not necessarily true.
I mean, we don't know anything. That's the thing.
Apparently that might have been actually a complete lie.
Well, the idea nobody has looked. I mean, no, they've looked into it. They're both authorities and journalists, and he's not. Unlike some people who attempt to kill or succeed in killing someone, he's not as interesting a person as what it turns out to be, and he's not photogenic, and he's not.
As a libertarian, I'm confused.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Who?
He doesn't have. He didn't make a manifesto, right? He doesn't.
How do you know that? How do you know that? You've had no information.
I don't have to prove a negative. You have to prove he does have a manifesto. There's no manifesto written. No one has produced one. I don't have to prove a negative. He doesn't have a stated series of views that he has committed to. That doesn't exist. If you're telling me that thing does exist, that's on you to prove it. Right?
Okay, fair. Except, so the reason why I say it like that is because between last episode and this episode, I guess, we've learned that there has been like reams of online chatter and like sermons from him that he has been posting on YouTube that were concealed from us.
And who's been posting?
Thomas Matthew Crooks. Did you not see the Tucker report?
I have stopped giving much credence to what I'm seeing from Tucker, unfortunately, these days. So no,
I understand where you're coming from, but this one thing, please watch, because I know that it's legit. I know that the same source has spoken to Miranda, who is 100% credible and has not been engaged in the stuff that Tucker has. And I'm telling you, this source is good. And I'm telling you, go watch that thing, because you will be, if you haven't seen it and you're still saying he didn't have a manifesto, that's just not true.
I mean, I'm
Perhaps
open to having my mind blown, but
compiled in one piece and bound like the Unabomber, but he absolutely did.
I think the idea that, okay, I haven't, I find it hard to believe there is information to be gathered about this person that is like not being gathered because of a disinterest in who, I mean, the mainstream media is biased against Trump, but I don't believe they're not biased in a, like their business model.
It's the Trump
It's not,
FBI.
it's not
an
the media. It's
interesting.
not the media. It's law enforcement. This
It's all
problem is
Trump.
with law enforcement. This problem is with the FBI and the DOJ. This is not even a media story. This is an FBI and DOJ story.
Trump's FBI and DOJ is not doing a good. I mean, that's hard for me to
That's
believe.
the
It just is
question.
hard for me to believe that they're doing a bad job while Trump is president investigating. But I'm not saying you're right. Maybe you know more about this than I do.
How many of our people have been unloaded into literally in the last year, Robbie? And how many of our people have been like how many of those investigations have been transparent to us with the Trump DOJ?
All right,
Arthur
we got some
Capel,
hands
Pam
up
Bondi.
now. Let's get a community member in here. If we can bring somebody forward. Who we got? Andrew. Andrew, thanks for joining us.
Oh, look at that attire he's got on. Nice job. I like it.
Oh,
no.
What does the sleeve say?
Peace, love, and understanding.
Oh,
How about that? What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, no. I just firstly, I want to say, Dan, I'm going to miss you terribly. Are you still going to be on the group chat, or is it?
This will be my last episode today, and tomorrow will be my last day with Two Way. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you've definitely. I know that I've said in the past I did vote for Trump this time around, but you and Nina have both given me hope for the the Democrats, and hopefully, just like these platforms give you so much sense of just civil discourse, which I love, just hearing from both sides. One of the things, going back to Epstein, about around 2017, I saw a mini documentary about child marriage in the US, and I thought there must be some kind of like mistake to think that child marriage was still sort of like occurring in this country. But doing a little bit more digging, there's still laws. The majority of states, I think it's about 36 to 38 states, still have laws which allow child marriage in the US. And whenever I hear about Epstein and just the human trafficking of mainly girls in this country and around the world, it's pretty abhorrent that there are still loopholes that can get around this sort of thing. I know between 2018, I think there was 300,000 underage marriages in this country. There are some states that have rectified this. I know Chelsea Clinton did I think it was at UCLA I think it was recently this year, with the organization Unchained at Last. And just the story about Epstein really brings up that for me, obviously getting justice for the girls and the women that were affected, but also highlighting the need to highlight what still goes on right here and right now in 2025, which is pretty unbelievable. Feel free to, I don't know the ins and outs, I'm not associated with the organization, but sort of like, I think more needs to be sort of like looked into to really protect young people, especially young girls and young boys.
You know who the biggest advocate and the most effective individual in the United States, and I think in the United States for 4 decades at least, combating this issue, which is absolutely real, it is absolutely rampant, the numbers are like you wouldn't believe how common human trafficking is and child trafficking is and trafficking of women is. And the single biggest humanitarian in this space is, and I don't know, Nina's feeling me right now. She's about to maybe not feel me, but I'm right. I am right, is Tom Homan. And if you watch Tom Homan talk about this issue,
Yeah, he does talk about it.
literally gets emotional from his days at Customs and Border Protection, where he would open up, you know, truck cargoes and see women and kids inside. And, you know, working with these people who have been victims of the most horrific abuse that you can't even imagine on their way up and over the border. Always sexual abuse, always rape, and usually destined for more in the United States and in the interior. Nobody has taken this issue more seriously than Tom Homan. He gets such a bad rap. The Trump administration gets a bad rap or whatever. And, you know, I'm glad that you brought this up, because for all of the BS around the theater around Jeffrey Epstein and the performative concern and LARPing concern from everybody in the Capitol about this, this is a border issue, 1000%, or at least the vast majority of how it manifests and how it goes on is through the cartels. And this is the Trump administration's crown jewel accomplishment, is saving the lives of women and girls who are being so brutally abused by these monsters in Sinaloa. Monsters.
It is mostly an immigration issue. I have looked into some of these statistics on the domestic when we're not talking about immigration, and I think there is sometimes a little bit of media manipulation, because it makes it sound like kids are routinely abducted off the streets. The vast majority of kidnappings in the United States are actually custody disputes between parents who disagree on who should get the kid. Like, sometimes media or TV makes it like this, right? Law and Order makes it sound like every 2 seconds, if you leave your kid alone for 5 seconds, white van pulls up, now they're in sex slavery, something like that. It happens to, yes, illegal migrants. Yes, it's definitely happening to them. It's not happening to random people on the street. And it gives, and the reason I guess I don't care that much that people are misinformed about it, but it does lend itself toward bad policies. A lot of like stranger danger policies that have eroded childhood freedom. Like, kids can't walk to school by themselves anymore. They can't play at the park anymore. It's parents get arrested. They get sent CPS after them by letting their kids play in their own backyards by themselves, out of this pervasive stranger danger fear that is not really reflective of where those things happen. So I always like to throw that out but it was not to, again, deny the immigrant trafficking part of it is very much the case. Okay, we got a couple more hands. Let's get
It's by the way, the central issue of child trafficking. Anything that doesn't address the cartels is really just tinkering the edges of the issue.
That's part of it. I mean, good on Tom Homan. I didn't know he was doing that, even if I don't agree with much else, but good on him if that's an issue that he cares about. And we have to care about domestic, a lot of rapes or instances of incest is, relatives on these children, and we don't deal with that very well in this country too. So any kind of child exploitation, sexual exploitation or otherwise, we should just not, stand for it and find ways to do something about it all together. I mean, it's really sad. And so it's not just that. I remember the show How to Catch a Predator. I don't know how many of you remember that show. And it was on, and my God, I had to stop watching it because it was in my psychology. But children all around the world go through this, and we saw mainly men of high reputation, from preachers to rabbis to professors to law enforcement, and then you have adults in these rooms online posing as underage children to try to catch these people. And a lot of the Americans would go to other countries so that they can exploit other people's children. And it's just a type of evil. It's just a type of human evil that we have to stamp out every chance we get.
See, I wondered, Nina, if you would have, as a left libertarian perspective, maybe I thought you might agree with me on this. It sounds like you don't. But in all those cases, right, it's a police officer posing as an underage child. So I might be totally alone and unpopular in expressing this view, but where's the crime? There's no child was at risk at any point in any of those attempts. So then I'm like, what's the crime? I mean, it's embarrassing to those dudes, and those people are awful and should be socially shamed, but then they get cuffs slammed on them when, like, well, there was no. It's kind of like when the FBI poses as like a terrorist group and tries to trick like teenage Muslims into saying they want to blow up a building and then arrest them. But okay, but there you were the person on the other end of that. There were no actual weapons for sale. Like, what's the crime?
I understand that these types of people, they're in these rooms where younger people are in these rooms, and they study these people, and then they set up the. I don't think they're just trying.
I guess I don't like the idea of
someone pointed out in
clapping
chat,
themselves on the back for solving problems that they themselves orchestrated. Like, go catch someone who vandalized the CVS beneath me. Like, why are you online trying to convince people to commit a crime and then arrest them?
I mean, if somebody tried to convince me to have an affair with an underage person / child, Robby, I wouldn't be able to be entrapped into that.
Right.
It's people who are pedophiles that the show is targeting.
Yeah, I mean, I would defend undercover work. I mean, that is there is a time and a place. Is there maybe some time?
And the threshold, by the way, for this, sorry, but this is just the threshold for this is showing up. It's not talking about it online, it's showing up.
Showing up at the house when the person told you they were 12.
Yeah, but there was no 12-year-old in the. I mean, there was no. The 12-year-old didn't exist.
I have to find some paper somewhere.
Yes. All right, let's get another community member. I think Jennifer's up next.
Looks like she's sunny wherever she is. You're muted, Jennifer. There you go.
I'm on. Hi, I'm such a huge fan of you guys, Dan. I'm gonna really miss you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Miss you.
We are all going to miss Dan.
Robby, let's be
I'm in
honest.
Rochester.
No, you're not.
I'm in Rochester, New York, getting my steps in before it gets pitch black in like 25 minutes. But I wanted to talk to Emma Jo and get her feeling about how. I mean, I'm so disappointed about this whole thing with the foreign students and Trump coming out and saying, oh, we need these foreign students to be in our universities. I mean, my son, oh my gosh, my son was getting into college last year. He's a freshman this year. It was so difficult. I mean, MIT, he got an interview. It's like impossible for a kid to get into MIT. And they're 34% foreign students.
Yeah.
And that's our elite university. And then they say, oh, we don't have people to do these jobs. Well, it's because we're not giving those spaces to our kids.
Yeah.
And that is a big disappointment. Big.
Yeah, I hear that. I hear you. First of all, congratulations on the interview at MIT. Even I don't know if you get it up there, but even getting an interview, wow.
Well, he ended up going to the University of Austin, which is
wonderful.
a new university in Austin.
I know about
We know it. Yeah.
He's a freshman there. It is, first of all, it all worked out because it is amazing.
Yeah.
So he's doing really good there. But still, like, the whole process is so difficult for these kids to get into these schools.
And it's a microcosm of, especially at MIT, I'm imagining he's in STEM. Good luck getting a job with the H1-B program. I agree with you. I'm having, Jennifer, let me tell you, I'm having a difficult time. I'm having
with you.
Time. The immigration and the FBI, between the two of them, I'm sitting Shiva sometimes, I feel.
Where's Tulsi? Like, where is she? We were supposed to get all this transparency, and I'm just really disappointed. And I think that's where it's coming from, all this disappointment in the Trump administration and why the Democrats are obviously taking advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to hear from you because sometimes I feel like maybe I'm cynical, maybe I'm like a doomer, maybe I'm just like harsh and blackpilling and I'm too online. And
no,
it's interesting to hear from you who's like physically outside.
Yeah.
Like,
and even my parents who are ultra Trumpers, they're very disappointed. So I think the messaging has been terrible.
Yeah, I don't know if you listen to the Alex Marlowe show, not to gas up another podcast on my podcast, but it's a good one. If you're into just like the right wing, like kind of MAGA take, Alex usually has it pretty nailed. And he spent the last like few episodes actually like the last like maybe this whole week actually, kind of sounding the alarm. And Democrats, I know you must be shocked that the MAGA disappointment doesn't have much to do with Trump's name being in the Epstein emails. It has everything to do with immigration. Everything to do with immigration and the economy, these are two really the same issue, like two facets of the same issue. And yeah, I mean, I hear you. The foreign students line, that was to me, devastating.
Yeah,
Devastating.
I think
So what did you guys make of him digging in on the H-1B visa the other night too? I mean, he got into an argument about no, we don't have enough people. Like
we don't have the skills.
I think that's his
skills.
sincere view. Look, I think there's a genuine split on the right. Right, there are certainly a lot of MAGA, America First conservative people of Emma Jo Morris's exact views who want, when they said they want deportation, they want less immigration, they want less legal immigration, they really mean it at every level. America First, fewer foreign-born workers, fewer students, fewer at every level. What it sounds, but other people in the coalition, including it sounds like maybe Trump himself, what they meant was, well, we attribute the crime and dysfunction we see in our cities to illegal immigrants, and we are tackling that real good and real hard, and we might be rounding up just low-skill immigrants along the way. But in terms of the tech sector, which is so important to Trump's tech policies are much, much more free market and much more libertarian than the rest of his economic agenda. For tech sector, for those kinds of jobs and positions, no, we are going to have a high-skilled immigration policy that's more H-1B visas, more students. I mean, that seems to be Trump's view. And at the end of the day, Trump is who gets to decide what the view is.
That's fine. And I'm not clearly he said that outright. You're not explaining anything new to me that he hasn't said that I've understood loud and clear and that Jennifer has understood loud and clear. It's just that in doing that, you are shafting white collar workers who, by the way, are suffering the same way blue collar workers have been suffering. The white collar workers are suffering the same way, especially because those people tend to have to live in cities because that's where the corporate jobs are that they work at, given that they are white collar workers. Mamdani just won in New York. What's that? That is an affordability issue that he won on. And the reason why he's winning on an affordability issue is because the white collar workers are getting killed by the H-1B system, by the foreign students. It is not fair. You should not have to compete with the entire world, with all of Asia, for a job in the United States.
I obviously disagree with that, but Nina, what do you think?
Yeah, I want to know what Nina, because it splits our party too.
Yeah, it does. I mean, charity starts at home and spreads abroad. That's how I believe, and for the president and even Vivek making comments about American workers when we work just as hard as any other people on the face of the earth. I'm not saying don't let, other people in who have a requisite skill that could help, but don't at the same time malign the integrity and the skill set of the American people who are right here at home. So charity starts at home and spreads abroad.
And one of the problems though, I mean, just I think it's like 70% of the Silicon Valley CEOs, this was as of I think like 6 or 7 years ago, were of foreign descent, right? They had come here at some point, the founders of Google, right? Who come here, go to our universities, want to stay, start a company, and the rest becomes business history. One of the arguments is, look, if these people are not coming, then they're going to go start that company in Tel Aviv, or they're going to go start it in Brussels or Hong Kong. And at the end of the day, we do want that innovation and the pipeline here in this country because we are the most innovative, dynamic, country in the world. That argument is not without some merit. That it's a balance, but we don't want to say, hey, like I mean, that's where America First runs into trouble.
Yeah, you don't have to.
No, they're not. The regulation in all of these countries, maybe save Israel, they have excellent, excellent tech. Their development, R&D, their business environment for tech firms is pretty good. But like, no, no. Google CEO is not starting Google elsewhere. They're not. How many tech companies are in Europe?
Yeah, but the
Well,
reason
I
they
mean,
don't have any tech companies in Europe is because they have punitive regulations and restrictions.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. So they want it. Well, but I want the tech companies to do really well. I want them to headquarter in America. I want them to add to our
A little
economic
bit.
growth. And I want them, obviously, they demand to hire the
best.
very, very best people, not good enough, but the best. And I'm sorry, if the best people are all from China, bring them all here and then keep them here. The stupidest policy from my viewpoint is to send them back after they're educated. Why should they be educated here and then go back when they're done
Shouldn't
to
be educated
China?
here.
I
They
want to
shouldn't be
drain
educated
China of
here.
its resources.
Well,
and
we
have them all
want
here.
we want people from all over the world. I mean, it's good for Americans to learn about the way the rest of the world thinks, in my opinion. It's not healthy if everyone's Tim and Bob from the United States and we know each other. I want to know, how does a European think? How does a Chinese think? Because if I'm going to go lead a country or build a business, I need to know that.
Of course. And so they should take the extra $100,000 a year that they earn because they are not competing with Chinese nationals and visit China.
We don't have to tear down our own people. I think the premise here is to say that we Americans don't have what it takes, which is a flat out lie. Americans need opportunities. I remember when I was on the Cleveland City Council, Case Western Reserve University, which is a premier university in the United States of America, and I was talking to a bunch of African American students who are descendants of enslaved people. They are not, foreign born Black people within the diaspora. And one of their complaints was that the university paid more attention to foreign-born students than they did to them.
Yes.
That is not fair. So yeah, while I would love for us to keep our competitive advantage, I understand that the world is smaller. We really are citizens of the world. We have a country, but because of technology, the world is smaller, so we're citizens of the world. But what I'm not going to do, is tear down American people to lift up somebody else. And what we need to do is make the requisite investments in American children. And
100%.
Jennifer might be gone, but
I
I feel her pain on that.
Well, speaking of
Robbie,
investments
one thing about the Chinese students being so much smarter than us.
Stereotype, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. First of all, yes.
I mean, it's a good one. But...
And second of all, and again, your libertarian bone will love this. The reason that what has been invented in China that has not been stolen in IP from the United States? The list is like, you can't fit it on a Post-it. I don't even think that there is anything that they have invented. And the reason why is because we are a free country, and communism, a trait of communism, and this is observable and obviously true, a trait of being raised in a communist country is that you lack creativity. You don't have the mechanism in your process. This is not a stereotype at all. This is not a stereotype at all. And like I said, after the show, please humor me and look up the inventions from China that are not, again, a development on top of stolen IP, but a genuine invention from scratch from China. There are none. There are none. And the reason is because these are not better people than us. These are not smarter people than us. And we are the most.
No. I didn't say they were smarter people. I said the company should be able to hire whoever it thinks is the best person for that job. Trust me. If the best people are all Americans, great. If they're all Jews, great. If they're all Italians, great. If they're all Chinese, great. Why is it any of my business what your company decides is best for you?
It absolutely is your business if you're the government, and they are not hiring based purely on skill. And you know this, they are hiring based on who is willing to be an indentured servant, and Americans are not.
I work with those tech companies. That's not true.
Really?
Yeah, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
Maybe on the senior level, on the associate
no.
Yes, it is true. Yes, it is true. They are hiring based on who's willing to work for what wage. And you
that's all of us. We're all company. I mean, we as in our role as media people are in competition with other media people, and the company's going to decide who's the best person for the job based on what they're asking to be paid. I mean, that's the say. Nobody's an indentured servant, especially
it's not Silicon Valley.
Hold on a second. I lobbied for Silicon Valley on this issue for 2 years.
Dad,
Okay,
what are you
there
arguing
are
for?
there are two different
Talent?
buckets, right? There are two different buckets. Google and Amazon and Microsoft case the United States and the world, and they don't just take, as Robby said, the top 10% in a grade. They look for the top 5 people at the school. Their process of interviewing and what you have, they then throw money at these people. Like, I mean, this was 10 years ago. This was 10 years ago. People were getting $300,000 starting compensation packages at 21 years of age, 10 years ago. So hold on a second. Now, do the consulting companies that put in applications for 100,000 H1-B visas the day the window opens, that do back office computer services for companies, are they looking for low wages? 100%. They are not.
It's not just back office, it's coding.
Well, it's back office coding for healthcare companies, financial services.
Yeah, so why shouldn't that job go to people in Ohio?
It should go to whoever's best
Is
at
it
it.
because the people in Ohio are just as skilled, but are
I agree with you.
Paid more.
I agree with you on that. But my point was, when you say Silicon Valley, the most innovative, aggressive companies do not go hunting for the cheapest people. It's the opposite. What is Meta paying for AI people right now?
Oh, I know.
Meta is giving packages. So it's been in the Wall Street Journal. 2 people got over $1 billion to come. That is not low source labor. It is the best in the world.
Of course. I agree with you.
So don't say all of Silicon Valley is
on the role. Not everybody is going to be in those $1 million signing bonus roles. I obviously they're paying top dollar for top talent, but everyone under them, for the most part, is indentured servitude.
Some companies, but
there
not most.
I'm right.
Survival of the human race implications of who wins the AI race, in my view. And the American tech companies, in my view, it's existential that we win it. And so I'm sorry if
I agree.
native-born Americans can't get these jobs. We have to win it at any cost.
I agree. Cut off the Chinese
Pentagon
Communist Party from our intellectual property, and we will kick their butt.
Just don't put down American workers. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
Jennifer, look at what you picked up.
Made an absolute statement, and then he drew in HBCUs in that conversation. I'm like, why do Black people get involved in this all of a sudden? Because y'all so accustomed to blaming.
We got to bring Jennifer back in. I mean, she kissed off this whole entire thing. She's still walking.
Our
America first.
Our HBCU students, our state school students, are just as good as anybody that brings on H1-B from India, from China, whatever. That's, I think, comprises
and if for some reason they're not just as good, then we need to figure out the why and fix it and make the requisite investments. But you're not going to be stealing stuff from American citizens right here in America. Now we just not.
But you know who
I
made
agree,
most
but
of those investments?
in terms of the AI space race, this conversation begins and ends with the transfer of intellectual property. You choke off the CCP, it's over. It's over, and we win.
Something has gone wrong, though, in so many, we're talking about education, so many of our schools. There are big stories this week in the Atlantic and in the argument about the need for remedial math education, reading education, the college level students in the UC system who cannot do math on a very, very, very basic level. And the UC system abolished the standardized test, so there was no way to tell. That would have filtered you out. You know, you think you know math, and then on the ACT, you fail the math portion, and then you don't get in. But because they got rid of that, all those people got in, and they get to actual school, and they're like, oh my God, no one can do math or basic reading. I mean, it's more complicated than that, but go ahead.
Yeah, on that point, as somebody that was a full-fledged college professor at a community college before I let these politics take over every aspect of my life, you know, on a community college campus, we accept all. You know, that's the role. It's different from the university. We want to give everybody the opportunity. But I can tell you, as of teaching those classes, yeah, it was mind-blowing. You know, how did you get here kind of thing, even though understanding as a community college professor, my role is to then take that and get you there. It's not the same on the university level, but we have to go back. I think standardized testing should be one measure. As an educator, I will tell you that a standardized test does not truly predict the intelligence or lack thereof or skill set, but I feel like we should have a portfolio approach, of which, to your point, Standardized testing is one of those, but we take other skill sets and not just totally judge that person by how well they can or don't do on a standardized test.
Right. My understanding is that there was some good intentions behind moving away from standardized tests because, yes, wealthier and people with better resources can do the test prep and improve their scores. But the problem is wealthier and better, they can also, they can join the water polo team and they can volunteer and they can take piano lessons. And so their ability to game the non-standardized test portion of the admissions is actually stronger. And then you throw in grade inflation, which now no teacher wants to give anyone. They're actually, you don't understand math, you get an A- because they don't want to be the single one to dissent from that system.
Well, that is what
right? It looks like you're
standardized
being
test
unfair
is.
to the kids.
It's the apples to apples comparison. I mean, that's what the schools will tell you is it's hard to find. How can what is something that every person applying would have, one thing that we can say, they all had to take the same test.
Yeah, but that's faulty though. That's
I hear you, which is why they don't just look at it. They look at other factors. But otherwise, the problem becomes, how do you compare two different schools, right?
I understand what Robby's saying. If you have more exposure, you have an inherent advantage. But how do we try to find as much stasis as we can?
Yep.
Yeah.
Robby, we got some folks. We got
let's get one more question in before we're gonna have to wrap. This is one of those days we could have gone another hour. Mitchell, good to see you. Let us know what's on your mind.
Good to see y'all too. I wanted to talk about like a through line for the Epstein thing that is not necessarily right versus left political. So part of the fundamental basis of the populist movements of the left and the right over the last 30 years or so, but especially since 2008 and the Occupy Wall Street movement, has been that there is a class of elite people who have wealth and are connected and trade favors and trade money and move it around and have the capability, if they choose to do so, to take advantage of women of various ages and use their power and such to do that. So you've got the Me Too movement, you've got various other movements that all basically have the same, when you boil it down, theme of that there is, as George Carlin said, there's a big club and you're not in it. And this becoming, like, all of this stuff being released basically sort of says to all of these people in these populist movements, you were kind of right, that there is a certain class of wealthy, powerful elite that can get away with things. And they have contacts with various Congress critters and all kinds of other people and power brokers and foreign dignitaries and whatever else.
Yeah. That's a good
Right.
point.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it goes even, a lot of, you mentioned Occupy Wall Street, right? The financial crisis, a lot of wealthy people, they didn't suffer nearly the way rank and file Americans did. No one on Wall Street went to jail, after that. I mean, like the Iraq War, wasn't a lot of rich people. There were some, I don't want to overly generalize, but as a rule, the people who were serving and dying and being maimed and harmed were working class people who did 2, 3, 4 tours of duty. While people where I live in the Upper East Side, there were not a lot of kids going to, serve tours. So I think it's been boiling up. Nina worked for Bernie Sanders. He was laughed at first and came within a hair. Yeah, I know you worked for him twice, but he came within a hair of 16 after starting off as what was to a lot of people that he was a gadfly. He was a joke, and he darn near won it. And it turns out, was a canary in the coal mine for what was brewing in the rest of the country.
Well, we're going to have to wrap it there. Colleen, I'm sorry we didn't get to you. I can see you've had your hand raised. I hope you save that thought, not actually even for next week because we'll be off for Thanksgiving, but for the week after. Unfortunately, we will be Danless for the future. Dan, why don't you bid us a fond farewell? We're bidding you a fond farewell.
Thank you. Try cue the music here. Well, thank you, Robby, and thank you, everyone. That's right. For those who don't know, this will be my last group chat. Tomorrow will be my last morning meeting. I just want to thank everyone. I'm going to start with someone who you don't see on camera, Chelsea, and I think her mother is watching too. who produces the show, who helps make us all, look good, and does kind of the Lord's work to put this show on. So thank you, Chelsea, for everything. Obviously, Emma Jo and Nina and Robby, one of the joys of this has been getting to know you all both on camera and off. You've all, made me better just because I've learned from you, just from the perspective you bring to the conversation, but also just the great people that you are. So thank the three of you. And most importantly, obviously, thank to all of you, the audience. It's a joy to listen to you guys, to be able to hear from you, what's on your mind, what you're thinking. We all think we're smart, but we know we're not. Really, we learn from you. So thank you guys, and good luck to Robby, Emma Jo, and Nina going forward. No doubt, great things. And I will be watching, maybe not on Zoom, but on the YouTube, because I love this, whether I'm on it or not. So thank you guys, and thank you, everybody.
Thank you, my friend. And just so the audience, our community members are aware, we will be moving forward. We'll have some special guest appearances from other co-hosts we'll be trying out in the future weeks. I know the show has changed a lot since it was first pitched a couple months ago, but me and Nina and Emma Jo are still having a great time. I think today is a testament to that. It even got a little spicy. It was a lot of fun. We're going to be at it. Please,
Robby, people love that you cursed, by the way. That was not...
No, I didn't. What are you talking about?
You got
Dan,
no, I didn't. You got real street cred.
I don't know what he's talking about, and but we love Dan. We will miss him. Best of luck to everything you're doing, and the joy of us all being pundits with all sorts of different media programs and shows is that I'm sure we'll cross paths again in the future. We love you, man, and we love our audience, and we hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and we'll see you the week after that for another fantastic episode of the Group Chat. Bye-bye, everybody.